Hello, hello. Welcome to Coffee, Sage, and Tarot. This is going to be the weekly readings for all signs for November 17th through to the 23rd. Everything will be time-stamped in the description, so go ahead and take a look there. I will meet you at your sign. Welcome. For those of you that are new to my channel, my name's Jen. I read tarot over here, and we do that weeklies. The weeklies come out every Thursday, and I do the monthlies for all signs as well. So if you are interested in listening to your November, head on over to my channel and check the playlist for your sign, and you will find those there. Alrighty. I think that's it. That's all I've got. Nice and simple, to the point. I'll meet you at your sign. All right, Aries, hello. Let's go ahead and see what... Oh, that was quick. Ace of Wands. Alrighty. With Judgment in the shadow there. So it feels like perhaps you're aligning. Yeah. Look at all those aces coming your way. And there you are. You're like, yes, I am open to receiving all of these different opportunities here. All right, so you're working hard, and it definitely looks like something's going to be clicking this week here. With that Ace of Wands, you are fire, right? So with that Ace of Wands showing up, it really does feel like something is aligning you closer to who you want to be, where you want to go, and all of that. And you're hard at work on it, right? And with this Ace of Swords, Ace of Cups, and you sitting back there in that shadow, it could be that you kind of coming in or feeling really aligned to who you are or who you want to be this week, Aries, is opening the door for all of these different opportunities to come in, right? Or just really kind of reconnect you to what you feel your purpose is. Let's get some more clarifiers here for Aries, please. Let's get some more clarifiers. Perfect. All right, so what do we have? All really good cards. I'm trying to remember how they came out. The last one's kind of all blurted out, but that's okay. Let's see. There, we can see all of those. All right, so for that Ace of Wands, we have the Magician, the Five of Swords in the reverse, Two of Wands, Three of Cups, Five of Wands, Queen of Wands, the Tower, Page of Wands, and the Ten of Swords. So you are showing up in your element here. So yeah, this really does feel like you're in your element, you're in your zone here, you're moving with purpose, and really kind of whatever you're wanting to do, you're getting done, which is lovely. And you're not letting anything stop you. I really love to see that Five of Swords in the reverse for you, because it feels like you're not letting anything get in the way, and almost like you're not engaging in things that are trying to take you off course here, right? With that Two of Wands energy kind of showing up as well. This idea that you're aligned to what makes you happy, you're aligned to what brings you joy. For some of you, there is an emotional connection to what it is that you're doing this week. And so with that emotion and that passion that you can bring to any situation here, that energy that you can bring, it feels like you really are unstoppable this week, Aries. Queen of Wands, Tower, Page of Wands energy here. You know, something might be shaking up here. There might be some little bit of a rocky road that you might not have been anticipating. It doesn't seem to be very... It doesn't seem to knock you off course, okay? But it is popping up here, so of course we do have to acknowledge it. What I do like about this is that there's a passion, and you feel it. There's passion and purpose that you're showing up with this week, Aries. And that Five of Swords is almost like you're not engaging in conflict. That's kind of behind you, and you're choosing not to put your energy there. But you are very much showing up kind of aware of what foot you're putting forward in society and how you're maneuvering in that way this week with that Ten of Swords. And then there's Judgment showing up again. Yeah, so there definitely is, you're putting something to rest here with that Ten of Swords. It could be this way of thinking. It could be, you know, kind of letting doubt or fear or conflict stop you. Whatever this Five of Swords energy is, that's what I feel is you're putting that down in order to make way to really push yourself forward and move towards these opportunities that are coming your way in the next couple weeks, Aries. Okay, so really, really lovely reading. Awesome energy for you. Let's go ahead and get some final thoughts here. The Tower. I feel like that's good though, honestly, in this instance, especially with that Magician again showing up in the shadow there. You're making the most of it. It feels like a good tower, right? A tower for good, to kind of realign you to where you want to be. Yeah, that Eight of Pentacles showing up, and again that Ace of Wands. So it feels, yes, very much to be a good thing. Even if it might not feel good in the moment, in retrospect, this is one of those things that is very much aligning you to your higher purpose. You're focused. You're showing up great this week, Aries. It looks lovely. I wish you all the best, as always, and we'll see you next time. You take care. Leo, hello. Let's go ahead and see what the week of November 17th has in store. Nine of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, and the Nine of Wands in the shadow here, along with Death and that Knight of Swords. So Leo, or at least the Leo that I read for here, you've kind of been going through it these past couple weeks, and I feel like this is kind of the beginning of the end. We're wrapping that kind of period of tension up for you, which is really good. With those double nines here, yeah, that it definitely does feel like you've been feeling the weight of whatever's been on your mind, and that might be affecting you physically, or it might have been affecting you physically, right? But the good news is that this is a period of transformation for you. You are changing as a result of everything that has been going on for you, Leo. I'm trying to find the silver lining here. And it does feel like we are moving into calmer waters. If not this week, then hopefully next week for you. This does seem to be kind of like where everything is peaking this week, okay? Let's get some clarifiers for Leo. Let's get some clarifiers for Leo, please. All right. I don't like this. Okay, so we're going to go into it here. We have that Nine of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune clarified by the Two of Pentacles, Seven of Cups, Queen of Pentacles in the reverse, Page of Cups, the Devil, and the Ace of Cups here, along with that Nine of Swords in the shadow here. Yeah. This could be a conflict relating to your home, which is why it is affecting you so much. It could be a conflict relating to your identity. Okay, and perhaps somebody is challenging the core pillars of who you are, challenging what you believe to be your core values, something like that. It really feels like it's hitting home with you. Especially in this week. Okay, so it feels like that conflict is really coming for you personally, and that's why we're kind of feeling it, right? And again, it does feel like this is kind of the peak of that energy for you, the peak height of discomfort this week, Leo. Okay, with the Two of Pentacles, the Seven of Cups, and the Queen of Pentacles here, it feels like, you know, you're at your limit in terms of, life kept kind of taking left turns, and you're just like, I really just don't know what to do here anymore. Definitely confusion here. And with whatever has been going on, it feels like that trust and perhaps even that confidence that you've had in yourself has kind of taken a beating a little bit this week. So I would just be mindful of that. And again, just give yourself space to and patience this week, and kind of a general understanding Sorry, I had to sneeze and I didn't want to do that on the video for all of you. Yeah, so just kind of have a gentle, it feels like you're not being gentle with yourself, and it feels like that's kind of what's called for, especially with all of this tension as you head into this week, Leo. On the Wheel of Fortune side here, we have the Page of Cups, the Devil, and that Ace of Cups here. So it does seem like somebody's trying to present you with a new emotional connection. And while it might look, it feels a little bit like a wolf in sheep's clothing, kind of, with this devil presenting here. So just be mindful of anyone trying to lend a hand, lend an ear, lighten your load. It seems like the intentions might not be the best, and you might be getting into a situation that might end up making it worse. So really just be mindful of who's presenting themselves to you this week, or who's offering a helping hand this week, because they might not have the best intentions when it comes to you, Leo. Okay, they might be a wolf in sheep's clothing. And kind of getting you into this cycle of doing more harm than good as it relates to yourself, right? And it might be that this person is a good person. Their energy just isn't aligning in a way that is helpful to you in this moment. Okay, Leo? Yeah, it feels like there's quite a fair bit of conflict and distrust I'm getting there as well. Okay, so just be mindful of that as you head into this week. It does feel like we're kind of, this could even be a lesson for you too, right? Perhaps getting yourself into a situation here with somebody, or engaging in emotional connectivity with somebody that doesn't align with who you are, your identity, where you see yourself going. This could also be, a repeating pattern that speaks on, the impulses, that impulsivity, right? Engaging in things that we know not to be safe, we know not to be productive here, and doing it anyway. So this could be a cycle repeating for you as well, Leo, this week, okay? And that offer is presenting, and it feels like the universe is presenting this to you in a way to see, are you going to take the bite? Are we going to do another loop through this lesson? All right, so just be mindful of that. Queen of Swords. Yeah, so not at all surprised to see that Queen of Swords here. It does feel like there's some sort of lesson that needs to be learned, okay? And the universe is presenting you an opportunity to close this loop on this kind of feeling here, which is why it feels so heightened, because it is such a choice as you head in. 5 of Cups, right? 5 of Wands. Yeah, there's definitely some conflict here for sure that you're feeling, and just the unease, that tension is very real for you this week. It feels claustrophobic, okay? But this is how we grow. This is how we learn, right? And that death is showing up again here as well. So the universe is trying to help you grow, right? And grow hopefully beyond whatever this pattern is, whatever this situation is here, and to come to terms with not everything that we feel a connection to is good for us, Leo. Okay? That's what I have for you as you head into this week. Hang in there, my friend. You've got this. Okay? Hang in there. And I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I wish you all the best this week. I'm sending you love and light, okay? We'll see you next time. Sagittarius, hello. Let's get right into it and see what the week of the 17th has in store for you. Strength and the Hanged Man. Okay, so this does feel like a major week for you this week, just with the 2 major arcana cards coming out. King of Wands as well. So this is a situation, or this is a week where it requires the best of you, right? Kind of rising above. And I do see here very much taking the high road, resisting the urge to go low, right? What's that saying? When they go low, you go high. This very much feels like going high. And it's going to take some work, okay, to do that and employ that this week, okay? Yeah. Let's go ahead and get some clarification for Sagittarius, please. Let's get some clarification for Sagittarius as we head into the week of the 17th. That was that way. This is this way. Let's get some clarifiers for Sagittarius. Yeah, major. Wow. Let's get some more clarifiers here for Sagittarius, please. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, I mean, listen, this week does feel pivotal for you. And when I say that, I do want to take a moment to clarify that it doesn't mean that there is a lot happening, although it could be, okay? Tarot brings, these are general readings, so it brings things to the surface that will translate different for different Sagittarius out there, okay? When I say this is a major week, it means there are some major themes happening for you, and that could look like a very tumultuous week. It could look like there's a lot happening kind of behind the scenes there, or it could look like some major things are finally clicking into place and aligning you with some clarity. Okay, so take it as it resonates here, but either way, Sagittarius, this is showing up to be a major week for you as we head into the 17th of November and the week ahead. Strength and the Hangman are clarified by the Star Aquarius energy, the Lovers Gemini energy, the World, Nine of Swords, Three of Cups, and that Ace of Wands. And then in that shadow, we do have another King showing up, that King of Swords with the Nine of Pentacles beneath him and the Sun beneath her. Okay, so very much standing your ground, very much taking the lead on something or showing up, standing in your truth, standing in your element, okay? Taking the high road, all right? With this here, it does feel like there's some major loop that's coming to a close, so it could be, you know, kind of the obvious thing here is a relationship could be ending, but it could be a lot more nuanced than that. It could be some aspect about a relationship is ending, okay? Some aspect about what you feel you want out of a relationship or out of deeper connection to yourself. Something is closing a major loop here for you, okay? And it feels like you're letting go of something. I feel like we were doing this a little bit last week as well. This was a theme. It feels like whatever you kind of closed in your day-to-day is energetically, that loop is closing for you. So this could have been a karmic loop or something, a kind of a pattern that was repeating for you, Sagittarius. Either way, it's taking a lot of strength to go ahead and say, we are done here. Okay. With coming over to this side here with that Nine of Swords, the Three of Cups, and that Ace of Wands. Yeah, there's the we're taking the high road, right? It's uncomfortable, but we're doing it anyway. It's uncomfortable. It's not a place that we normally like to reside, but we need to take ownership of what it is that we're doing, how we are showing up, and understanding that it's not the most comfortable position, but here we are anyway. Because when they go low, we go high. With that Three of Cups showing up, right? It's almost like you could be you could be deploying, right, the best of you and the King of Swords. You could be deploying the best of you this week because you don't feel in your element, right? Because you feel tested or pushed or whatever it is, right? So you need to show up in the best way that you can. And it does feel like there's a little victory in that, right? So you're kind of sticking your leg out or you're sticking your arm out. You're vulnerable in a sense, right? You might be the only one seated where you are, standing where you are. There's a little bit of isolation here, but somebody comes in and provides a little bit of reassurance this week, and that does wonders for you. So you're doing the hard thing. You're not looking for that validation, but it does feel like that validation is coming to you, and that is all you need to continue to move forward, right? With this Hanged Man, I am getting a little bit like you're sticking your neck out. You're sticking your neck out a little bit this week, but for the right reasons, okay? Let's get some final thoughts for Sagittarius, please. That just flew out of there, didn't it? That's funny. Yeah. 8 of Cups, okay? You're walking away from something. Something is ending, right? And so, again, it could be, like I said, a relationship, but it feels more nuanced than that. It feels like what you're expecting out of a relationship, or what you, how you interact in this relationship. There's some depth to that, okay? 8 of Cups here. You are not the person that you were perhaps even when this month started or when this year started, okay? And some major loop is closing. It feels like this week, or maybe as we head into next week, that is when this energetically is taking place. And so you start to feel that, right? With that 3 of Cups as well, it does feel like there's a little bit of the tension releases a little bit. Perhaps you will feel a little bit lighter as this week comes to a close, okay? High Priestess showing up in that shadow for your clarifiers as well. Trusting yourself, right? Trusting that even if you don't have facts, tangible facts and data here, you are doing what is right for you. You're sticking your neck out. When they go low, you go high, and you are very much going high this week, Sagittarius, okay? That is what I have for you. You look beautiful. You're doing something that is hard, but you're doing it with grace, and you're standing true and staying true to who you are, and that's beautiful. All right. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. You take care. Capricorn, hello. Let's go ahead and see what the week of the 17th has in store for you. I feel like we were doing like this. All right, so Queen of Wands in the reverse, King of Pentacles, right side up in the shadow, Knight of Pentacles, King of Wands. It's interesting because your shadow is showing me like rational, and the card that's presented is showing irrational. So I'm wondering if you're lashing out this week, but you know better. Like you're aware that you're lashing out, maybe not being your best self this week. And you're like, I know what I'm doing, and I'm still doing it. You know what I mean? Let's get some clarifiers for Capricorn, please, for the week of the 17th. Okay. Interesting. Okay. What? This is so weird. Okay. All right. All right. We're going to try to decipher this, Capricorn. Okay. Because it's a lot of like conflicting energy. And maybe you are feeling conflicted this week, which is why everything is kind of showing up on the map, like all over the map. But we're going to give it our best shot. Yeah, like again, okay, so in your shadow here for your clarifiers, you have the Queen of Cups, Strength, Temperance, King of Swords. Yeah, there's like this inner knowing here, or like this definite like emotional awareness here. And it's like we're going to be strong and balanced and reserve our judgment and stand in integrity. But this just feels a little contradictory. So heading into what we have on the board here, we have the Wheel of Fortune, the 10 of Cups, the Empress on her side, the Fool in reverse, the World right side up, Queen of Wands right side up. So it's almost like what we had envisioned with that 10 of Cups, like our big happy ending, right? There's something of like having this fulfillment and sharing it with everyone. There's a little bit of hesitation here. I'm wondering if you don't trust what the universe is showing you. And that's why we're a little bit hesitant here with that Empress on the side. We're not sure if we should be fully accepting of this and fully take this within ourselves, fully kind of adopt this, what the universe is trying to tell us here. And so that's why we're kind of acting irrational, or perhaps there is a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. But Capricorn, I know you kind of been going through it these past couple weeks here, so I'm wondering if we're distrusting of what is happening here until we're not really sure how to take it. And so there's like this irrational side of you that's kind of like, no, I'm going to lash out, or I'm going to resist this because I don't know if I trust it heading into this week, right? With that, especially with that Fool energy in the reverse, right? We're not taking that leap. You're not moving, right? You're not letting go. Okay. And that's where I see that like that a little bit of irrationality, or just lashing out kind of happening this week, right? But then something is ending with the World. So it's kind of like it just kind of leads me to believe that you're energetically a little all over the place, which means that you're showing up and you're kind of interacting with people in not so rational a way this week, right? But you're aware of that. I'm acting out, but I'm aware of it. And that's kind of the vibe of what I'm seeing for you this week, right? Because even with, okay, so the Queen of Wands is showing up in the reverse, but with your clarifiers, that Queen of Wands is showing up right side up, which generally, for me, it seems like there is a level of awareness here where you're like, I'm gonna, say stuff or maybe do stuff that I'm pushing the envelope, I'm pushing the button with these people, but I know that I'm doing that, right? So I guess Capricorn, the question I'm going to ask you is, what is it about what's happening this week that you feel it's almost like you're pushing people away because you don't trust what is happening, or you're pushing people. There's this thing of like, we're pushing the envelope, and it's almost like is it a test? Are you testing people to see if they'll come back to you? Are you pushing them because you're not trusting of them, or not trusting of the situation, or are you not trusting of yourself? Like, I'm wondering what it is. And for, one Capricorn, it could be a different answer for another Capricorn. I'm just saying it feels like there's some sort of battle like that at play this week here, okay? Because it's like you're aware that you're aware of what you're doing, but you're doing it anyway. Queen of Wands, Seven of Wands. Yeah, so again, that Queen of Wands is showing up, right? So now we have her not once, not twice, but 3 times she's showing up here. So it almost is like, how are you maneuvering through your space? How are you interacting with people? What is your purpose here? What are you trying to achieve? What are you going for? What are you aiming for here? Seven of Wands, it does feel like a little bit of self-sabotage. I It feels a little bit like self-sabotage here. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Seven of Wands typically is like acting on the defense or the offense. Either way, you're guarded, right? And it could be that. You're guarded here. I see it a little bit more like you're shooting yourself in the foot. And you know that you're doing it, but you're not stopping yourself from doing it. There's no restraint here. But then there is restraint rationally. But that rationality or that knowing it doesn't mean that you're not changing your behavior. Okay. King of Swords, and there you are, right? King of Swords, the Devil, that's you, and the Emperor here. Yeah, it just kind of feels like you know what you're doing here, but my question is, why are you doing it? Because it just seems like we're kind of going in a circle here. Yeah, so definitely guarded. I'm wondering if you're pushing people away this week, and that's kind of how it's showing up, or something like that, right? Because you're very aware of what you're doing. That much is clear, but you're doing it anyway. And I just don't want anyone to get hurt in the process, especially, like, you know what I mean? And it feels like this kind of pattern, or this kind of energy is how people get hurt, and it's how you end up getting hurt as well, Capricorn. So I would just be mindful of that, because you do know better, right, than what you're kind of giving me here. Okay. As always, I'm sending you love and light. I wish you all the best, and thank you so much for showing up. We'll see you next time. You take care. Taurus, hello. Let's get right into it and see what the week of November 17th has in store. Knight of Cups, and that Nine of Wands in the shadow. Seven of Wands, Knight of Wands. You're fired up here. You're fired up for sure on something. But to be clear, it is whatever you're fired up on is taking a toll on you. Okay. It does, whatever this is, does appear to be draining you mentally, maybe even physically as well. Draining your energy. All right. Whatever it is that you're fired up, I'm not saying it's good or bad or otherwise. I'm just acknowledging that that is there, and that's what the cards are saying. Okay. Knight of Cups coming up as your card here. So perhaps some deep reflection here, steady, consistent movement towards having a better grasp or better understanding of your inner workings, right? Who you are, and doing that kind of deep dive into emotional awareness, right? What fills your cup here, and doing that slowly and consistently, right? Let's go ahead and see what clarifiers come up here for you. Show me more clarifiers for Taurus, please. Show me more clarifiers. Thank you. Okay. Okay. You know, I have to arrange them 1,000,001 times before I can start talking. So we're just going to do that. Wheel of Fortune. Emperor. Okay. So coming into your clarifier here, Taurus, the very strong energy that I'm seeing here, right? We have the Wheel of Fortune, Emperor, Lovers, Three of Pentacles, Magician, and then that Six of Wands. So you are showing up very focused here. Whatever it is that you're fired up about, it's directing you, or you are moving as a result of this, right? And, you know, perhaps it is taking a toll, but for your purposes, it is required. And I do see there's some sort of social recognition that is coming here. you know, perhaps if as it relates to a job, a promotion, as it relates to a relationship, especially with that lover showing up, you know, maybe some validation there. Whatever it is, there's some sort of social component of you receiving like a nice pat on the back, okay, as it relates to this particular situation here. So that is really nice to see. You're very focused. That much is clear. Coming into your board here with that Six of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, like I said, you're focused. You are very much making whatever this is a priority here. You want to see it through to the finish, or at least you have big ideas in terms of what this looks like for you 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, and you are so committed to the cause that you're like, I'm doing this. I'm making it happen. I'm doing this because I believe it to be true, and I know within myself that this is something that I need to accomplish, right? So very much that type of energy is here, and that's why I'm seeing kind of the slow, consistent movement. Over here, it gets a little bit interesting. We have the Page of Wands, Justice in the reverse, along with that Hanged Man in the reverse, and the Four of Wands here. So Page of Wands, like I said, you're fired up, right? This fire energy here is now showing up here with this idea of the pages are youthful, right? They're kind of getting their sea legs a little bit with whatever it is that they've just now grasped. They want more of it, right? So it's kind of like getting fired up again, or a renewed vigor is what I'm seeing here, because some things have changed on your timeline, right? So I see Justice in the reverse. Perhaps a decision that you made, you're going back on that decision and you're like, oh my God, I realized I had it wrong the whole time, right? Especially with that Hanged Man there. You're moving, right? There are things to be done here, and you're very much working towards some sort of tangible goal, especially with that Four of Wands energy, for your home, for what matters, for your pillars, right? For whatever matters to you, be it your family, yourself, right? Your core identity, whatever it is, this Knight of Cups here, this slow, steady, consistent movement into emotional awareness, or perhaps it even is you've unlocked this new level of emotional awareness, or of what emotionally is driving you, and that's why you're fired up. And you're saying, no, it wasn't this way, it really was this way, and now I'm ready to move forward, right? Either way, it does feel like some decision has been reversed, and now you are moving based off of the reversal of this decision here, okay? And yes, you're tired. Yes, you're drained, okay? You might even be doubtful. You might even be scared, but you're very much committed to the cause, and you're doing it anyway, okay? This is a time of doing, not a time of thinking, and it feels like that's where you're headed, right? And that's what you're doing this week, Taurus, okay? So very focused, very, very focused, which is awesome. King of Cups, yeah. King of Pentacles, yeah. Okay, so again, King of Pentacles, you are Earth sign, right? So showing up and doing doing the best you can, right? You are doing this and putting the full effort of who you are behind it. You're showing up to the best of your ability, because this matters. King of Cups here, right? So your opposite is Scorpio. So this could even be the light and dark, right? Your shadow versus your not versus, but your whole being showing up and supporting this, getting behind whatever it is that you're doing this week, whatever it is that you're making a priority with that Six of Pentacles this week, right? It requires the best of you, so you're showing up, giving the best of you, right? King of Cups as well, that emotional intelligence, emotional awareness here. Also that vulnerability, Taurus, which sometimes doesn't come so easy, but you're like, I'm throwing everything I need. I'm throwing the best at it, because this situation requires that. Okay, so that's what I have for you. You look awesome. You're killing it. You're focused. And yes, you're drained, but for good reason, it would appear. Okay, that's what I have for you. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for showing up, and we'll see you next time. You take care. Virgo, hello. Let's go ahead and see what the week of November 17th has in store for you. Show me, Virgo, please. Show me, Virgo, please. There we go. Thank you. Six of Pentacles, 10 of Cups. Well, that's some nice energy, right? Nine of Wands and High Priestess. All right. So it took a while, right? It either took a while or this came at great cost. This 10 of Cups, right? This happy ending, or it could even be that not everything is as it seems, but you're listening to yourself, right? Or you should be listening to yourself. And there's a reminder in there for you, Virgo, okay? With that Six of Pentacles, you're balancing priorities here, giving to what is needed, and perhaps taking what is required. I feel it is important to say that for you this week, Virgo. That's what Spirit is telling me, so we're going to roll with that, okay? Let's go ahead and get some clarifiers for you, please. That just flew out of there, didn't it? Empress. Beautiful. Let's get some clarifiers here for Virgo as we head into this week, please. Let's get some clarifiers for Virgo, please. Thank you. Okay. Does feel like this. That feels like that for sure. Okay. All right, so we have that 10 of Pentacles and that Tower. That Tower was trying to come out. It didn't. It feels like something is changing for you probably next week or in the weeks to come, and you will feel that, right? It will be a tangible Tower here for you, but it does feel like it's a good Tower, right? In that it's aligning you closer to where you want to be and what you want to attain in this lifetime, okay? And this is kind of, I don't want to say laying the groundwork, because Virgo, I feel like you've been laying the groundwork for some time. This feels like you're opening yourself a little bit more for the energy of that Tower to shake up what it needs to shake up in order to get you where you want to be, okay? So you're doing this and you're aligning your energy. You're dictating what you're giving to, and the universe is coming in after you've done this work here and saying, okay, now is the time. So you're kind of priming yourself this week is I guess what I'm saying here. So that Six of Pentacles is clarified by the Empress, the Magician, that Five of Wands. You're moving different, right? Perhaps you're not engaging in the way that you used to. Perhaps you're standing more firm in the way that you're used to, right? Take it as it resonates here, but there's something that there's an enjoyment in this engagement, in how you're showing up and interacting with the people around you, okay? And it feels very lighthearted, but still directed in a way, like it's still intentional, all right? But how you're maneuvering is different, and it feels lighter, okay? With this side of the clarifiers here, we have that Queen of Wands, which has been coming up for a lot of signs, I will just say. So you're not the only one with that. The intention behind your action and the intention behind how you're maneuvering in society is a theme this week, okay? Not just for you, but for a lot of different signs as we head into November 17th on that week. With the Five of Cups in the reverse, Chariot, and the Two of Swords here. So letting go, right? And perhaps it's because we're letting go of that grief or releasing it. We feel a little lighter this week. We feel a little bit more, I want to say loving, but gentle might be the word, okay? Because we're kind of letting go of whatever that Five of Cups energy is, whatever was kind of keeping our focus on the negative. All right, so we're releasing that, which is great. Queen of Swords, we have the Chariot and the Two of Swords. Queen of Wands, Chariot, and the Two of Swords. There's steady movement here, right? Movement forward, and it does feel like you're steadily progressing, like I said, towards that tower, towards definitely some sort of cycle completion here that's opening you up for taking you into the next place that you very much are ready and wanting to be. Okay, whatever hesitancy here that is showing up, it doesn't feel like it's stopping you. Okay, it just feels like it's there, and you just have to acknowledge that it's there. I'm moving forward, but I'm a little on the fence about it, but I'm still moving forward. That kind of idea, right? And it's just, you kind of, Virgo, you just kind of have to see all sides. You have to see all angles of it, all different viewpoints of it. And I feel like that's what you're kind of doing with this popping up here. Okay. So you're moving forward with intention. That's beautiful. And you look lighter, right? And that's always nice to see. Okay. So the Magician popping out in the shadow there. We have the Five of Cups and the Hierophant both in the reverse. So again, that Five of Cups releasing in a major way for you this week, right? We are letting go, and perhaps it has to relate to, or it relates to society in some way. Perhaps there was a belief that you had, a societal belief in how you should be showing up, what you should be doing, right? Examples of that are the right way to parent, the right way to perform at my job, the right way to, stand in my faith, whatever that is, and however that looks like. Perhaps the pressure of that was becoming too much, or you found yourself in a conflict, right? Because you weren't, showing up in that image, because that image was not meant for you, right? We are all unique beings. And so now you're making changes and doing what you need to do for yourself and showing up lighter because you've let that go, right? Whatever that societal expectation is, it does really kind of feel that way for you, Virgo, as you head into this week. You're making room for what matters, making space for yourself. And it feels like that is the most important thing as we head into this week. Okay. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you gaining some clarity and insight. I wish you all the best, and we'll see you next time. You take care. Libra, hello. Let's go ahead and see what the week of November 17th has in store for you. Show me, Libra, please. Hanged Man in reverse. Somebody's ready to go. Somebody is ready to move. Two of Cups in the shadow, along with that Page of Pentacles. And hey, how you doing? Of course, Justice, Libra, behind that Page of Pentacles, and the Sun, and the Lovers. Wow. So that Two of Cups encounter, really having a chance to become a soul bond connection here. You're off the fence, and it does feel like there is a full commitment to whatever this Two of Cups is, and it really does have the potential to be something special. Wow, Libra, I love that for you. Let's go ahead and get some clarifiers here. Okay. Let's get some clarifiers for Libra here. I'm laughing because what's showing up on your board is not the same energy as what's showing up in the shadow. One more, please. One final clarifier for Libra, please. Thank you very much. Oh, God. Okay. Okay, the one consistent element here that we have is the Sun. Okay. So there's some clarity that's happening here for you, Libra, or at least some clarity that wants to come through, whether you want it to or not. The Hanged Man, definitely feels like, you know, you've jumped off that fence, which is awesome, and I love that for you. Hopping into the clarifiers here, we do have that Empress, Temperance on its side, Four of Cups in the reverse, which is beautiful. Okay, heading over here, we have that Devil energy, Knight of Swords on its side, and the King of Swords in the reverse. So whatever you've hopped off the fence on, it does feel like it's changed your viewpoint, and we've brought in some new truth, some new fundamental belief, that you are now showing up and standing your ground on, standing behind. Okay, so that's clear. And this is really lovely, right? So we have like that embracing what is in front of you, embracing, right, the physical beauty of life, right, and what life has to offer in terms of like the material things that we can pick up and enjoy in this lifetime. I really see that coming through. Temperance on his side, not so bad, right? It feels like we're trying to align in whatever this Hanged Man and whatever this new perspective is that you have, that you're kind of jumping off from and diving into the next part of your journey with. Okay, and let me kind of back up a step. It feels like whatever Hanged Man, whatever new perspective you've gained here, you're now implementing that as we head into this week. Okay, and so Temperance being on its side is not surprising, because whatever this new knowledge or this new perspective, this new viewpoint that you have come to understand, now you're trying to put it into practice, and that's what I see happening this week. Four of Cups in the reverse is actually beautiful, because it does feel like you're showing up engaged, right? You're showing up really trying to put direction and take this viewpoint and integrate it into how you're showing up in society and what it is that you actually want from whatever you've gained, right, from that. Coming over here with that Devil energy, the Knight of Swords and the King of Swords. I'm wondering if this Hanged Man has to do with confronting some demons for you, or confronting some hard truths in terms of what was holding you back or keeping you tied to a loop, to a habit, to a cycle that was not of benefit to you. Okay, because this just feels like the temptation to very quickly start going back or revert back into this cycle that you work so hard to get out of. Okay, so that's kind of why I'm kind of like, the energy in your shadows looks great. This just gives me a little bit of cause for concern in terms of that temptation is very much like staring at you, right? It's right there, and it feels like you could blink and you would be right back in that cycle. So very much a confrontation here, but I do feel that you see that and you see the weight of that, Libra. But the potential, right, to, you've made a choice here. There's some clarity, or you're almost at the brink of gaining that clarity of that sun coming through and seeing this kind of Devil energy for what it is, right? You're so close to being there, and that Hanged Man, that new perspective or that new viewpoint really locks some things into place for you. But it's like the potential is there, right, to fully put that behind you. So even if it is not a soul bond or a new partnership or any of that, it could be just you meeting yourself and seeing yourself for who you really are and confronting some hard truths about yourself, right? And we all have those things that we don't like. We all have those habits that we first need to see in order to realize, you know, are they good or bad? And if they're bad, they're even harder to see. But once we see them, we can start the work to move on or to correct them, right? And I feel like that's what you're doing here, right? With the King of Pentacles, the Sun, the Fool, and that Knight of Cups. Yeah, transformation for sure with death popping up there. You know, perhaps something clicked for you in the physical realm that helped with this viewpoint here, or helped you realize what has been, how you have been holding yourself back, how you have been maybe in these moments or in this pattern, kind of sabotaging yourself, right? And so, yeah, there is a desire to let that go, which is lovely. Okay. It's beautiful, but I want to make it clear it's very much like you're towing the line between, which again, really with this Temperance showing up, it's kind of like there's new thought that you can stand behind, but you're not quite there where you have a very firm grasp. You're almost staring yourself in the face, or staring at the darkest part of you. Right? And I don't want this to sound bleak or whatever, but it's like you're kind of staring at that part that is like the icky, and you could either slide down and go into that cycle again, or you could move on. And you're really right there this week, okay? Let's get some final thoughts for Libra. Let's get some final thoughts for Libra. Okay. So this is a very fitting card, that Eight of Cups, right? And that does give me hope, at least, that your energy wants to move away from this cycle. Your energy wants to move away from these kind of bad habits, right? With that Eight of Cups energy. Six of Wands, right? That recognition. So perhaps, yeah, you know, you do something, or you're kind of showing up differently, engaging a little bit differently with people, right? And so that gives you kind of the validation that you need to keep moving forward and doing what you need to do in order to put this to bed, right? With that Ten of Wands energy here, and have that Knight of Swords move you forward with new thought, so that your king can stand right once again, once you have that fully integrated, that new viewpoint that you can allow him to rest upon, right? So you're very much a work in progress this week, Libra, and it shows, but you're working on things that matter and things that of value, and that validation is coming to kind of nudge you along in the right path, okay? So lovely reading, right? I was a little bit like, oh, how's this gonna go? But no, you're showing up great, and you know, having some honest conversations with yourself, which is beautiful to see. So thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. You take care. Aquarius, hello. Let's go ahead and see what this week has in store for you. Show me Aquarius, please. All right. I'm getting clear conscience. You're at peace with for some of you, you're at peace with the decision you made. Your mind is clear. Interesting. Okay. Four of Swords, Five of Wands here. Yeah, so at peace. I'm also getting maybe for some of you that you're kind of checked out, right? Doing kind of engaging almost in autopilot here. Knight of Swords, the World, Nine of Wands, and that Devil energy. I feel like something, yeah, I mean, something wants to come to an end. There you are. I wonder if you're not allowing it. Trying to hold off an ending here. I don't know. Let's go ahead and see what we've got. Let's get some clarifiers here for Aquarius. Let's get some clarifiers for Aquarius, please. Let's get some clarifiers for Aquarius. Okay. Here and then here. Okay. Your mind is made up. And if that's the case, your conscience is clear, but in your shadow here, I have the Three of Swords, the Nine of Cups, Justice, and Wheel of Fortune, along with that Eight of Swords here. There's a little bit of pain here, a little bit of upset, and I'm wondering if it's like stubborn. Well, I made up my mind. I made my choice. And so here we are. And so perhaps you are disengaging a little bit, or pulling back a little bit your involvement in how you're showing up and interacting here. I'm wondering if you're doubling down on, well, I made this decision. And I wonder if there's an urge to do that because you're questioning if this decision that you made in the past is right for you going forward. And so you're doubling down on it, maybe being a little bit stubborn, but you're like, no, I made a commitment here. And so I'm seeing this through. But at the same time, you're also kind of pulling away from whatever that situation is, okay? Coming into your clarifiers here, I do have that Page of Wands, Ten of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, Seven of Pentacles here, Five of Pentacles on its side, Two of Wands on its side. Yeah, so there is a little bit of pain and upset here. With that Seven of Wands, I get that you're kind of blocking your energy, right? Very much guarded here. You're not letting very many people in, and you might even be blocking some aspects of yourself from yourself, Aquarius. Okay. Page of Wands and that Ten of Pentacles here. You're like, no. We got to keep working. We got to keep working on this plan. We got to keep working on, legacy, long-term gain, what life looks like down the road. And so you're kind of, you're committed. Perhaps you're showing me that that's the decision that you made, and it's a little bit rough at the moment, and you're trying to show up and keep your eye on the prize, Aquarius, this week, okay? Seven of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles on its side, Two of Wands on its side. There's hesitation here, okay? And there's, it feels like you're holding off making a choice, or you're trying not to make a certain choice, but the idea, I hope this makes sense, the idea of that choice keeps coming into your brain. Well, I could just walk away, or I could just do this, or I could just, right? And you're kind of trying to keep that energy at bay, and take stock and say, no, I'm here, and maybe figure out a way to recommit to whatever this is that's happening here, despite whatever pain and upset you're feeling. All right. Definitely it just feels like you're checked out, and how at the outset I was like, I made a choice, my conscience is clear. I'm wondering if you're trying to tell me that, or tell yourself that, because you're trying to force that into truth, because what I'm seeing here, that it does not feel that way. It does not feel like you are comfortable in that decision as you would, or comfortable in that choice as you are trying to say it, okay? Especially with this kind of removing yourself or disengaging a little bit, taking stock and trying to figure out how to move forward here. You know what you want. Maybe you've encountered some hurdles, or some obstacles, also known as hurdles, in your path, and you're kind of trying to figure out how to maneuver around them, right? And where to step forward. And there's an urge there to kind of change course or let go of whatever this is, but you're like, nope, I'm clear. My conscience is clear. I'm committed to this. Even if it is uneasy, I'm not sure how to move forward, even though that you're showing me that temptation to kind of just walk away. Because whatever this is, it has got you uncomfortable this week. Okay, Aquarius, I'm getting it now. It took a bit. Let's go ahead and get some final thoughts. 6 of Swords. Okay, well, that's good. 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, really showing up, taking stock. The Hermit, and the Star. Right, there you are. So you're showing up here. Where are you? There you are. So you are here, right? And it very much is something, these are decisions, and these are things only you can do. You are only moved when you want to move, Aquarius. And so this is very much about you figuring out how to make that step forward. With that Hermit showing up, there is some, and that Leo energy, right, with strength behind that. It does feel like you kind of, perhaps the wind got taken out of your sails a little bit, and you are kind of here figuring out how to maneuver forward. And so this is you kind of taking that L and getting your mind right as you continue to move on. 6 of Swords. The good news is that whatever you're kind of working out, you will be moving forward, right? And again, you are showing up here, which is great. You're very present in this and trying to decipher how best to move forward and how to resettle and regain that perspective in order to re-engage in your life. With that 6 of Swords, moving from this period of kind of conflict or assessment into more focus and more, smoother waters, so that you can start doing and reaffirming what it is that you want, and perhaps start engaging a little bit more, right? Re-engage, show up focused on how you're maneuvering in society a little bit here. Okay, so a little bit in your head in terms of how to strategizing a little bit, I would say, this week, Aquarius, and how you move forward, but you're getting there and you're figuring out that path. And I can confidently say by the end of this week, you'll have a clear way forward in how you're maneuvering all of this. Okay. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Took a little bit, but we got there, and I wish you all the best. We'll see you next time. You take care. Gemini, hello. Let's go ahead and see what this week has in store for you. Show me, Gemini, please. Show me, Gemini. Thank you. Like, I want 3 because that's how I'm feeling. Okay. So we have Temperance, 4 of Pentacles, and that Knight of Swords here. So it's almost like you want that balance and harmony, right? But you're stuck. You're stuck on, it would seem, the negative, right? And stuck on that pain. You just can't get over it. You want that ending, but it's not coming here. You're holding on to it, right? Almost for better or worse here. Let's go back to this. We keep touching on, it feels like those painful parts. and not allowing that balance to kind of come through, right? Let's go ahead and get some clarity for Gemini, please. Let's get some clarity for Gemini as we head into this week. Let's get some clarity for Gemini, please. Show me Gemini, please. All right. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's really good in your shadow here, right? Kind of licking your wounds and moving on here. And immediately into a Two of Cups, so perhaps a new connection here, a new partnership, someone or something that is going to open your eyes to something new here, a new experience, right? That opens you up in a different way, right? So that is nice. In your clarifiers here for the Temperance, Four of Pentacles, and that Knight of Swords, we have the Empress, Seven of Swords, Eight of Cups. We have the Six of Swords, Three of Pentacles, and that Five of Wands. On this side here, yeah, it just feels like your Aquarius had this. Did Aquarius have this? Or Virgo, maybe? Virgo or Aquarius had the same energy where it was kind of like you were shooting yourself in the foot a little bit and sabotaging the progress that you're trying to make with that Seven of Swords and that Eight of Cups, right? There's like this, the 7 to the 8, which is progression, but that's this, the Seven of Swords leads, focuses on deceit, okay? And it just feels like you're taking away from your any forward momentum that you're trying to have. With the Empress coming in here, it feels like you need to be, or there is just this reminder of let's be gentle with ourselves through this process, Gemini, and let's be understanding here of this process as we continue to move forward, but have this awareness, right? See things for as they are. And we don't need to berate ourselves or have shame or kind of feel any type of way because we are doing this, right? Progress isn't linear, and it just feels like you're kind of having a 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of week, okay? Coming over here, we have that Six of Swords, the Three of Pentacles, and that Five of Swords here. So as we're cycling up, right, from the 7 to the 8, but then we're kind of going back to the 7 energetically with that Seven of Swords here. Like I said, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We're kind of breaking down. So we go from the 6 to the 5 here. Okay. And it just feels like things aren't clicking and the wheels aren't spinning we're not spinning at the same time. We're kind of clunky this week, Gemini, okay? And that makes sense because you want that balance, but you're also very much focused on whatever this kind of pain and heartbreak is that has happened, or you're focused very much on like that negative, right? Which happens. Coming back here, right? We want to move forward into something new, but it's almost like into that new experience, we're taking past interactions, past exchanges. So I would just be mindful of that as you head into this week. But if you're truly able to at least start to put some of that behind you, it does feel like there is some sort of new connection here that is trying to come through and bring itself to the surface. And I'm wondering if it's even, Gemini, I wonder if that person is there waiting and you're just kind of so in your head about replaying whatever this situation is, that you can't see that they're there waiting for you to kind of take their hand, right, energetically, so that they can kind of pull you along into a new lesson here, or into, at the very least, some new perspective with that Eight of Cups, right, and that Hanged Man energy here. So a lot going on. Yeah, a lot going on for you, Gemini. I would just say really be gentle with yourself with that Empress energy, and kind of come back to grounding, right? Especially this week. Come back to what matters. King of Wands and that Four of Cups. Yeah, it's just a little bit of not seeing what is there, what is being presented to you. That Seven of Swords and that Moon. That's fear, right? Fear, letting our mind get in our way, letting, allowing ourselves to be defeated before we actually move on. And I feel like that's kind of what you're battling this week, Gemini. King of Wands. It's almost like you're not seeing your full power this week, and you're letting yourself get kind of caught up in this one step forward, two steps back kind of situation here, and you're not allowing yourself to really move forward in the best way possible for you. Okay, so just be gentle with yourself this week. Try to remain grounded as much as you can, even if that is like making lists, and then when your mind starts kind of getting the better of you, or you feel yourself kind of your stress, your anxiety, whatever that is kind of elevating for you, look to those lists so that you can kind of calm back down, or remember what your power is, right? Because it feels like you don't fully see that this week, okay? Gemini, this is what I have for you. I really hope it helps, and we'll see you next time. You take care. Cancer, hello. Let's get right in and see what the week of November 17th has in store for you. Show me Cancer, please. All right. Oh, I don't have your little card down. Sorry. There we go. All right, so we've got Temperance and Judgment. So that's really lovely, actually, finding some balance and harmony in your life, right? Ten of Cups as well. So putting something, so definitely a cycle is ending for you, which is lovely, in a good way, right? Just really, really positive. This definitely feels like a glass half full type of situation, or maybe even your glass is overflowing this week, Cancer, okay? Just showing up really, really lovely. Let's get some clarifiers here for Cancer, please. Show me Cancer. Show me Cancer this week. Show me Cancer. Let's get some clarifiers for Cancer this week, please. All right, so this is awesome, right? We already off the hop have two aces here for you this week. So pretty major, right? Clarifying Temperance and Judgment. We have that Ace of Pentacles, the Fool in reverse, Five of Cups, the Moon on its side, Page of Swords, Ace of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, and that Ace of Swords. So three aces that are trying to head your way this week. So truly awesome, right? And it does feel like you're very much aligned this week into who you are and who you want to be. And so these opportunities are coming your way, right? Which is lovely. With that Fool energy, it feels like you want to hold on to this feeling. And when we are so highly aligned and when we are feeling so good, I think naturally there is this tendency to want to hold on to that and not move away from this. Like we could stay in a nice warm cozy bed forever. We could stay in this feeling forever, right? And so I think that's what the Fool is kind of saying here. With that Five of Cups, you know, the idea of holding on to or clinging to kind of that negative perspective here, or however that, you know, kind of resonates for you as part of that Fool energy. We don't want to let go of that, or we're so used to thinking that way that we're not, it takes a little bit for us to think outside of how we normally think, right? Just one second. Sorry about that, Cancer. So yeah, it just feels like there's this like resistance to letting go, but still you want to let go, but also hold on to this feeling because it feels so good. Yeah. Heading over here, we have the Moon on its side, Page of Swords, Ace of Wands. It does feel like you're not letting the fear of the unknown stop you in any way. And these opportunities, it does seem like you seem to be taking them as they come up, right? And with that Page of Swords, trying to implement new knowledge, right? Trying to embrace this balance and this harmony that you have here in that new perspective in how it relates to your foundations, your home, your core beliefs, all of that, right? So there is a level of awareness here for sure. And it's just kind of like having that theory behind it, and then now you're kind of putting it into practice, and it doesn't always go as smoothly as we like, but you're doing it, right? Let's get some clarification here for Cancer. The Sun, that's beautiful, and the King of Cups. So listen here, you know, you're doing what you feel is best, and with that King of Cups, you're showing up in the best way possible and trying to be the best version of you that you can be. That is clear. With that Sun energy, there is a level of awareness here, right? There's some transparency here. You're letting that light in. You're seeing maybe a little bit more objectively here, right? There's no secrets. There's nowhere for any kind of fear or anxious thinking or any of that to kind of hide, right? Because the Sun shines light on everything here. Yeah, there's just like a strong level of social, emotional awareness, which is here. And that's beautiful, Cancer. Okay. That's what I have for you as we head into this week. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. You take care. Scorpio, hello. Happy birthday. If your birthday falls in this week, I really hope you are having an awesome birthday week. And do me a favor, drop it in the comments. Let me know when you're celebrating your birthday and what your plans are. I wish you all the best. As always, let's go ahead and see what the week of November 17th has in store for you as we close out this Scorpio season. Show me Scorpio, please. Gemini also. Oh, you have 4 cards. All right, we'll do it. Why not? Gemini had 3. I thought that was a lot, but here you are with 4. Okay, we've got the Ace of Cups, the World, 3 of Cups, Page of Pentacles, and that King of Wands, 3 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands in the shadow, High Priestess, the Star. So really good energy here, right? You're putting in work, right? A lot of it, to be clear. And I feel like, you know, the 10 of Wands was your, if I remember correctly, for November, that was your kind of final thoughts, right? It's going to be burdensome. The weight that you're carrying is heavy, but you're headed in the right direction, right? You're showing up with purpose, ready to move and strategize and act in the way that is best for you. And so I'm very much seeing that in your shadow here. The 4 cards on the board. It does feel like you're putting to rest some sort of aspect of yourself, right? With that Ace of Cups, you're closing the loop on something is what it appears to be. And honestly, I'm getting this idea that, incorporating others into the equation has something to do with it. So maybe you're opening, you're not as isolated as before. You're not as, independent maybe as you have been previously. There's this idea of, allowing others in as you continue to move forward. Okay, let's go ahead and get some clarity on that. Let's get some clarity for Scorpio, please. Let's get some clarity for Scorpio. Interesting. Okay, let's get some clarity for Scorpio. Okay. Okay. Interesting here. There's a lot happening. Okay, so for your 4 cards that you have here, we have the Ace of Swords in reverse, Page of Pentacles also in reverse, 7 of Wands, and the Wheel of Fortune both right side up. And then on this side here, we have that Knight of Pentacles right side up, Knight of Wands, Hermit on its side, 7 of Cups in the reverse, and then we have Hierophant energy as your clarifier here with the Tower, 2 of Pentacles, and that 6 of Pentacles here. So perhaps some change in your social structure, in how you show up in society. Perhaps even a component of your social dynamic is changing here. Maybe a change in status. Okay. That is kind of making way for something else to align for you, Scorpio. Kind of deciphering the novel that we have on your board here. The Ace of Swords is coming for you no matter what. It does feel like a forced perspective, or something is trying to be imposed upon you here, and you're not feeling that, right? With that Page of Pentacles, right? We have that right side up, but here we have it on the clarifiers upside down. Yeah, it feels like something is trying to force something on you. Someone or something is trying to force maybe their beliefs on you, force a certain role on you, and you're showing up and you're saying no. Or perhaps this is the universe's way of showing you that you are not the same person by presenting an opportunity onto your path to make you realize you're not the same person that you once were, and to finally close out that loop. Either way, this feels like it's something that is being forced upon you, and your challenge, Scorpio, this week is to not engage or to rise above this, right? That cycle is very much ending for you, which is a beautiful thing to see, right? The time has come for that to end. Heading over here, right, we see that Knight. So the Page reversed, but then we have that Knight right side up, Knight of Wands on its side, Hermit on its side, and that 7 of Cups upside down. So this is the end of your cycle, right? You are the 5, 6, 7 of Cups, 7 of reverse showing up in the reverse. Kind of says a couple things. First of all, that illusion, confusion, like you're very clear on where you're headed, where you're going. That is, that's very apparent here. Okay, so that 7 is showing up in the reverse, and that's beautiful to see, Scorpio. But it also feels like you're heading somewhere new. So whatever cycle is closing out for you, your next step is someplace that you haven't been before. Okay, you're heading off into a new place, a new state of being. Okay, and and that you're very clear on that, and it very intentional in moving forward in that way. We don't know where we're headed, but we're grounded, and we know what we see for ourselves. Okay. With that Knight of Wands and the Hermit on its side, this just kind of speaks to, or at least for me in this reading for you, Scorpio, confirms that you are headed into somewhere new because you're not relying on past experience here. And that Hermit is not right side up, meaning that any experience that you have encountered this far, yeah, you can't rely on because you are headed somewhere new. It's not in the reverse, meaning that we're not clinging to the past. You're very much open for new experiences, opening the door for what's next. That Knight of Wands, again, showing up on its side, it feels like you're not ready. You're taking measured action here, right? And it feels like you have been for a long period of time. With that Knight of Wands showing up on its side, it feels like you're ready. Your energy is ready to go. And you're close to that, right? Especially with that King showing up, you're close to that. These are kind of like the final steps in closing that loop, the final steps in that process before you can kind of go full steam ahead. You're clearing away the baggage this week, Scorpio. That's really what it feels like. And you're you're highly aligned and so inclined is what came to mind. But you're being very intentional this week, okay? And it feels like you have been feeling intentional or living intentionally for some time. And something is happening in your social structure here that is changing in order to get you to where you're headed next. Let's get some final thoughts here for Scorpio. 8 of Wands. Yeah, movement, right? 2 of Cups here, so potential new relationship. 7 of Swords, Knight of Swords, the Emperor here. Yeah, and it again just speaks on that kind of test element with this 7 of Swords. I'm wondering if this 2 of Cups here is a confrontation with somebody. Perhaps you're seeing the true colors of somebody here. Or you're recognizing that all is not what it seems with whoever's trying to come forward for you. You're kind of seeing behind the facade is what I'm seeing here. With this 8 of Wands, typically the 8 of Wands means forward momentum, forward movement, and I still very much see that for you. But again, just like how this Knight of Wands is on its side, he's not ready to go yet because you're not ready to go full steam ahead. You're close, but you're not there. Similarly, this 8 of Wands is presenting in that same way. You're fired up, you're ready to go, but you're not ready to move yet. You're not ready to move forward. We're closing out these final loops in order to do that in these next coming weeks, okay? With that 8 of Wands here, there's this idea of feeling whole in who you are, feeling secure and stable in that energy, right? And not letting anything move you. It very much you feel like an immovable object, like a massive rock that will only move when it wants to. And whatever this test is, whatever is trying to force itself on you is not, you're not allowing it, right? There's a clarity here, Scorpio, which is beautiful, and it's almost like you see it all, and you know where you're headed. You know that it is very much new territory here, and it feels like you're just on the cusp of beginning to explore that or really dive into that a layer deeper here. But these are just kind of the finalizing, or you're finalizing certain tasks, and this is one final test before we head into uncharted waters, which is awesome. Scorpio, what a beautiful reading. You're showing up very, very centered, and I love that for you. Thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you next time. You take care. Pisces, hello. Let's go ahead and see what November 17th has in store. Okay. Seven of Pentacles here. So we're very much taking stock. Nine of Swords, perhaps some overthinking as you head into this week or trying to find a conclusive way forward here. King of Wands has been showing up for pretty much every sign in one aspect or another. Seven of Swords beneath that with that Nine of Cups. It feels like you're trying to gain some clarity here, but perhaps there's some distractions that keep coming up and taking you away from this kind of analysis that you're trying to do here. Or perhaps it's just you find it boring and you're kind of like, I don't want to assess right now. I don't want to do this, right? But let's go ahead and get some clarity for Pisces, please. Let's get some clarity for Pisces. Let's get some clarity for Pisces, please. One more card, please, for Pisces. Thank you. All right. Don't mind the dog. She's just trying to make her bed comfortable. Okay. All right. So we have here that Seven of Pentacles is clarified by now she's really going to town. The Six of Pentacles, Two of Cups, Devil on its side, Seven of Pentacles showing up in your clarifiers on the side with that King of Swords, Judgment, and then we have the Eight of Wands, Three of Swords, Page of Cups, Page of Swords, Four of Cups. Yeah, it just feels like you don't want to engage in this here. And you know, it could be hurtful, it could be painful. You could be just showing me like it's just uncomfortable to be here, but it's kind of where you need to be in order to keep going and get to where you want to be, right? With what we have showing up in your clarifiers here, that Six of Pentacles, Two of Cups, and the Devil on its side, taking this time to analyze what you're giving your energy, your time, your effort, your attention to, right? And it could even be like you're working really hard at a relationship here and trying not to let certain temptations in on that dynamic. Or it could even be, if it's not relating to, this doesn't need to be a relationship, okay? It could be a partnership, it could be a business ship, it could be something like any sort of relationship dynamic, okay? But this idea of kind of recommitting to that and not trying to let distraction get in the way of that, not trying to let temptation get in the way of that, really going out of your way to make an effort to make this a priority. And if it's not a relationship that is resonating with you, Pisces, it could be meeting yourself in the middle, holding yourself accountable in that way, making that a priority and not allowing yourself to slip back into behaviors that are, you know, dangerous or addictive or overindulgent for you, okay? Over on this side here, we have that Seven of Pentacles on its side, King of Swords, and Judgment here. So, whatever we're taking stock of, it's hard for you to take stock of. And I feel it's hard for you to be objective about what it is that you're trying to be objective about. Okay. So I'm just seeing this very much as a challenge for you, especially with that King of Swords and that Judgment. You're rooted in your knowledge. You're rooted in your truth. And it's hard for you to see otherwise. Right. And it's probably why it's so hard for you to kind of engage or sit in this Seven of Pentacles, this period of assessment, right? Because maybe for some of you, it's challenging you to think outside of your norm. Perhaps consider an alternative perspective that you don't agree with, you don't understand, fundamentally is different from your own, something like that, right? Where it is making it challenging and where it's making that temptation to kind of move elsewhere or indulge elsewhere, that much more tempting, right? So yeah, a bit of a challenging week here, but you're facing it. And it does feel like you're really trying to commit to this understanding, trying to commit to this period of assessment, even if you're showing up hesitant or resistant, or showing up and even just vocalizing, hey, this is really hard for me to consider, but I'm trying to do it, right? Even if your energy is saying you want to be elsewhere, you're still here, right? You're still present, even though it's a challenge, and you're naturally going to have some resistance to someone or something challenging your thought, what you hold to be fact, what you feel to be core to you. But that's what is happening for you this week, Pisces. Ooh, that just flew out of there. And that Seven of Pentacles showing up again. So we have the triple Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, right? In your shadow here, Nine of Cups. Yeah, so really taking stock of how you want to feel, how you want to show up, taking stock of decisions that you've made. And again, that King of Swords showing up as well, right? That fundamental truth to who you are, what you believe in. Whatever is happening this week, it really does feel like it's challenging that for you. The World, yeah, perhaps there's some loop that's closing for you. Taking stock in this way, perhaps it's really opening your eyes to something new that you didn't realize, right? And closing a loop somewhere for you, Pisces. Okay, it feels like, let's be open. Let's try to see things a little bit more objectively and not be so quick to judgment. And in that, a loop is closing and another door is opening, right? Of course, getting you closer to who you want to be and where you want to be in life. Okay, Pisces, that's what I have for you. Okay, I really appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I wish you all the best this week and always. We'll see you next time. You take care.